The Mets get a rocky start in St. Louis, but go to San Francisco, take care of business. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Met Shitpod. I'm your host, Met Shitposting, and I'm going to try to up this podcast a little bit. I'm going to add some awards, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more, and so I'm going to start keeping track of some more things. Right, I got some things later on in the episode that I'll go over and try to make a recurring thing on this podcast. Right, but today I'm going to go over the whole road trip. Right, because why not? That's going to be. I think that's more doable for me to do whole homestands and road trips instead of do each series or each game, just because I'm pretty busy. So let's go. Let's start with Game 1 in St. Louis. The offense still looks slow. Right, from opening day, the offense looked great, obviously, and then the second and third game against the Pirates, it still looked a little rocky. And that was a big concern going into St. Louis. If it's maybe a road trip can help the bats wake up, especially Bo Bichette. I definitely do think Bichette got much better as this road trip went along, but it still started out kind of rocky in St. Louis. But in the first game, the Mets ended up winning somehow. They won 4-2. The offense still looks slow. Clay Holmes pitched great. Bichette got a nice opposite field hit to score a run later in the game. How about Jared Young with an RBI double? Right? Who would have seen that? Me. I saw that. I knew Jared Young was going to produce. A lot of people were pissed that Jared Young was in the lineup. And, you know, as happy as I was about it, I was like really? But Jared Young got in there, he got a chance, and he ripped the double into the gap, scored Brett Beatty, and helped the Mets gain the lead. And you know what? Fuck yeah, Jared Young. Jared Young, I think, is batting .353 right now. He's been producing. I mean, we saw this road trip. I'll talk about it later, but he had the double in this game. He had one of 3 hits. Actually, he was one of 2 players to get a hit the next game because Soto had 2. He had 1, and the Mets scored 3. Had 3 total hits. Then he made that throw. He threw out Encarnacion against the wall and had a double in that game too against San Francisco. He played lights out this road trip. And if it wasn't for one other guy, who I can assume you guys know who I'm thinking, he would probably win my award later on. But there's one guy that I just can't not give it to. But even though the Mets got the win, there was still a lot to talk about. They went 1 for 14 with runners in scoring position, and they left 11 guys on base. You know, they got lucky that Holmes pitched good and that Myers, Raley, and Williams locked it down. But this could have easily, if this is against a better team, they're not winning this game, especially when you go 1 for 14 with runners on. The Mets' ability to scratch these runs across were like just lucky. Like Bichette grounded out to second base because Lindor had a leadoff triple, and the second baseman, who was it? Let's see. Weatherholt, he kind of bobbled the ball and allowed Lindor to score. So we got kind of lucky there. Then Holmes goes out and lets up 2 runs, which in 5 2/3 innings, that's perfectly fine. That's a good start. It's the offense that's got to wake up. So the Mets scored in the first, and the Cardinals scored in the first. So after the first inning, they were both tied at 1. Then the 5th inning, the Mets scored again. And then the 6th, they put up 2 more runs, and the Cardinals scored 1 more. And then Raley, Myers, and Williams closed it down, and we got the dub. Right? As much as it hurt, I don't want to say hurt, as bad as the Mets looked, they came out of that game with a W. And in the end, that's all that really matters, right? Lindor had a leadoff triple and then did nothing afterwards. Soto had a hit. Bichette had a hit and 2 RBIs. Polanco looked pretty good this game. He had 2 hits, 5 at-bats. Beatty, Young had a triple. Bench had 2 hits in this game, which is good for Bench, but he's been looking terrible lately. As much as I want Bench to succeed, I think he's going to have to be sent down soon. Alvarez had a hit, and they won 4-2. Even though they won, again, like, it's hard to be happy when you leave 14 guys in scoring position, right? If we're going to see the difference later on in these games of hitting with runners on and how many runs we actually score. Right? Then you go to the second game, and the offense just completely disappears. The bats went dead. There's nobody. Like, this is the game that Soto. The Mets had 3 total hits. Soto had 2 of them, and Jared Young had 1. That was all they hit. No runs. They got shut out. People were complaining about Dickie Lovelady this game, and, like, I get it. But the Mets scored no runs. Whether Dickie Lovelady went in there and threw 5 shutout innings, or if he went in there and he got lit up for 12 runs, it would not have mattered because the Mets scored no runs. So, as much as everyone wants to shit on Mendoza and Dickie Lovelady himself for being ass, which he is, he's very bad. I'm not trying to be a Dickie Lovelady apologist here, but when you don't score, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. They went 0 for 4 with running scoring position, so they weren't even getting guys in the scoring position. They left 6 guys on base, and Senga was pretty good. 6 innings, 2 run runs. Actually, no, Senga was great. 6 innings, 2 run runs, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts. 9 strikeouts from Senga is awesome to see. And he had that rough inning in the what inning was it? In the third inning, Ivan Herrera hit a double and scored 2. But besides that, Senga looked fine. Again, you'll take 6 innings and 2 runs from a pitcher every time because you expect this $1 billion payroll offense to fucking hit. Which Lindor and Bichette and Robert and Blanco didn't play this game, but the rest of the lineup did not. Go on to the third game in St. Louis. This was definitely the worst one. This one hurt the most, I think, out of the St. Louis series. Again, the offense went dead. Right. This was a tough game for Francisco Lindor. This was the game that in the first inning, there was a guy on first and 1 out, and he got a ground ball right to him, and he stepped on second base and started running towards the dugout and not realizing how many outs there were. Which, listen, shit happens. You know what? Like, it ended up not mattering because Peralta got out of the inning anyway. But at the same time, it's odd to see from Lindor because he's usually so on, he's so like locked in. That I don't want to say is concerning, but it definitely didn't help his case for what I've been saying, that he doesn't seem to have as much of a drive as normal, which I don't know if it's because of the stuff in the clubhouse. I don't know if he got something else going on, but he just seems to kind of be lacking his normal like charm and spunk, but who knows? And mistakes like that, if it doesn't end up mattering, it's no biggie. Right, as Tommy on the radio says, no biggie. Obviously, if the Cardinals rallied that inning and had gave up 3 runs, then it would suck. But at the end of the day, they got out of the inning, and shit happens. Mistakes happen. People forget how many outs there are all the time. That's gonna happen. What can't happen is him getting picked off at first base. That was really bad. And what made it worse is that Soto hit a home run right after that. And then the Cardinals didn't score a run until the bottom of that inning, actually. They scored again, but it should have been 2-1. And then they didn't score the rest of the game until the 9th inning. They didn't score the 7th, 8th, 9th. So, in retrospect, if Lindor didn't get picked off and Soto hits a 2-run shot instead of a 1-run shot, the Mets could have won this game 2-1. And instead, they go into extras. They don't score in the 10th. They don't score in the 11th. and the Cardinals scratch across a run with a Mason Wynn pop-up behind first base that just drops in, and the Mets lose the series to the Cardinals on a 2-1, just hair-scratching victory for the Cardinals. They just squeaked by. Like this, that's why I say this one sucked, because it was just like you lose on that, you lose on a little bloop, as you can't score. And again, I don't want to put this all in Lindor. Like, this is not all in Lindor. They didn't hit. The lineup didn't fucking hit. So even if Lindor was still on base and it was 2 runs, maybe the Cardinals play differently. Maybe they pitch hit. Maybe they rally better. Who knows? But the Mets still didn't fucking hit. And most of the time, you're not going to win the game with 2 runs, right? Especially with this offense, has got to be better. And which they did get better. Like, I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of this game. Because they obviously hit later in the series. I mean, they scored 19 runs in 2 days. But at this point, Lindor got on base with a walk. Besides that, he had no hits. Soto had the home run. Bichette had 1 hit. Polanco had 1 hit. Robert had 1 hit. Vientos had 1 hit. And the rest of the lineups is all 0. Beatty, Simeon, Alvarez, Taylor, Benj, all did not get a hit. Didn't even get on base. So, again, they went 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position, and they left 11 guys on base. You can't win like that. And the Cardinals scratched across the only run that they needed with the runner on second. All they needed was a hit, and they got it. So, kudos to them. But this is a game that the Mets should have won. If they just scored another fucking run. If they could just string together another hit somewhere along the line. And they didn't. So, going into San Francisco, everything was looking pretty bleak, right? People were shitting on Lindor. People were really giving shit to Marcus Semien. Me, myself, I gave shit to Marcus Semien. But the pitching still looked good. Peralta in this game went 5 1/3, let up only the 1 run, 2 walks and 7 strikeouts. So that was the only positive we could take. But again, the offense looked anemic. They could not score. The limp de offense, right? Couldn't score going to San Francisco. And then going into San Francisco, when you only scored 2 runs in the first game again, it kind of, keeps that idea alive. But people were really starting to give out shit, right? Saying this team sucks, this and that, Stearns is an idiot, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, guys, we gotta relax. We gotta relax. Is the second series of the year. The second series of the year. Like, oh my God. This team sucks. Relax. What's wrong with you? Chill. It's going to be alright. You gotta give it time. You just gotta give it time. We all know how bad Lindor is in the beginning of the year. We all know how bad he is. But Francisco Lindor, March and April and sometimes May, is terrible. He's not terrible. He's getting on base, but he's usually awful. But we know he picks it up. He'll be alright. So, Mets dropped the series to the Cardinals in a very rough fashion. The offense does dick. And they go to San Francisco, and David Pearson doesn't really do the Mets any favors. I mean, he goes out there, and he just starts serving up meatballs. He opened an Italian restaurant out there. Went 4 1/3 innings, 9 hits, 6 runs, 5 earned, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. And this game looked promising at first because in the first inning, Bichette hit an RBI double to go up 1-0. And then after that, in the bottom of the first inning, Luis Arias triples, Matt Chapman doubles, and the Giants put up 3 runs. So it's like, what they weren't coming back at that point. In the second inning, Vientos hit a home run. So it was 3-2. And then Pearson goes out there and throws another stinker. Lets up 2 runs. No one scored in the 4th. The Giants scored another run in the 5th. I think off Sean Manaea. Then they scored another run in the 6th to make it 7. And then at that point, just can't it was 7-2, and the way the Mets offense has been moving, that this game was over from the jump. So they lost 3 in a row, and obviously not looking too hot going into Friday's game against the Giants again. So at this point, the Mets are on a losing road trip. All right, they lost to the Cardinals, and they lost first one against the Giants. So now it's 3-1. No, they're 1-3. Excuse me. Then game 2, out of nowhere, really, the Bats came alive. They scored 10 runs. I don't know how, but the main story of this game was obviously Juan Soto. He had a hit in the first inning. Believe Bo Bichette had a single. Let me see what happened. Yeah, Bo Bichette hit a single. Soto went from first to third, and seemed to tweak his calf. Took him out of the game. Tyrone Taylor came in. Luckily for Soto, we all got a big deep breath. That Soto is gonna be okay. It's a low-grade calf strain. They're just being easy with him. Normally, a strain would be like, okay, he can probably come back DH, depending on what part of the body it is. But with a calf strain, recently in a lot of sports, especially basketball, that's been leading to Achilles injuries. And that is something that we can absolutely not afford. Because Soto is the best player on this team. Let's be real. And if he goes down, we're kind of fucked. Right? I know we scored a lot of runs without him, but the Giants are a terrible team. If we have to play any contending teams, such as, the Dodgers or the Brewers, we're going to need Juan Soto. If he's on the lineup, that's going to suck. So I'd rather be easy and cautious with him now. Sit him against the Diamondbacks, who can't score a run. Sit him against the A's, who suck. Kurtz isn't hitting the ball. Jeff McNeil sucks. Shocker. So it's better to sit him now against the weaker opponents and then let him slowly come back. Let him maybe DH against the Dodgers, or maybe even pinch hit him, right? Get him in the game. Just ease him back. No rush. Really, really, no rush. Take your time, bro. I'll come over there and I'll massage your calf myself, man. As long as you keep hitting the fucking ball. But let's shout out Marcus Semien in this game. Marcus Semien was taking so much shit from fans. Me too. I made a video of, I think it was the movie's called Tusk, where the guy turned somebody else into a walrus or some shit. Fucked up movie. Completely fucked up movie. And I never want to watch it. I just know the clip. But I made the clip. It was like, would you rather turn yourself into a walrus or watch Marcus Semien play baseball? And it was the walrus scene. But after all that shit talking that Marcus took, he came out, smacked the home run, and put another RBI on the board. So he finished his day with 3 RBIs, 3 hits, scoring a run. And how about Francisco Alvarez, too? Alvarez had 2 home runs, both solo shots, but you can't control that. 2 RBIs, and looked fine behind the dish. And everybody in this lineup hit, besides Tyrone Taylor and Carson Bench. Lindor had 2 hits, which was a miracle this road trip. Soto had a hit in his first at-bat, and then he got hurt, and he got pulled. Tyrone Taylor went 0-4. Yeah. Bichette had 3 hits. Robert had a hit. Beatty had a hit. Vientos had 2 hits, continuing to rake. Semien had 3. Bench didn't have any, and Alvarez had the 2 bombs. So that was a nice win. That was a great win to see from this Mets team. After the offense being dead, completely dead, the past 3 days, they come out and they just absolutely destroy Mahle. Is that his name? Something Mahle. Mahle. Tyler Mahle. Whatever. Mahle. The Giants pitcher. The Giants starting pitcher. Granted, he's nothing special. But still, I mean, I don't think the other pitchers that they went against in St. Louis were anything special. So, it was good to see. Going against Robbie Ray, a Cy Young winner, that's a tough matchup. And it doesn't help when the Giants score 7 runs. So that first game was a bit of a wash. But this game, there was absolutely no excuse to not beat up on this pitcher. And to the Mets' credit, they did. Bichette been looking great. He had three hits in this game after taking a lot of shit, especially from Frank the Tank. I mean, like the freaking first series of the year, he's like screaming and crying. I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up, please. And we can't forget about Noel McLean. Noel McLean went 5 perfect innings, and then he let up a run in the top of the 6th. No. Yeah, he let up 2 runs in the top of the 6th. No, let up 1 run, and then Lovelady came in and let up another run. The Mets tacked on 3 more in the 7th. Giants tacked on 1 more in the 8th, and the Mets in the top of the 9th got 2 more. And who got the save? Luis Garcia came in and shut it down. Looked pretty good. He had a strikeout and kept the Giants lineup at bay. So now the Mets are sitting at 2-3 on the road trip, and things are looking okay. Right, they have a chance to win 2 more games and finish this road trip with 4-3. Right, they played 7 games. They're at 2-3 right now. They gonna, if they win the next day, it'll be 3-3, and if they win Sunday, it'd be 4-3. So going into the third game against the Giants, pretty much it was like almost the same game, right? From a fan perspective, you know, as much as I wish I could dive into a lot of things and use like metrics and stuff, but just eye test. They won 9-0. So winning 10-3, winning 9-0, they're both nice, easy games, right? They're both games that we can look and be like, oh, all right, thank God. You know, it's nice. Those are the wins that you don't have to sweat. You don't have to worry. You don't have to be like, oh my God, are they going to come back? And of course, there's always that possibility. I'm not saying there's not. I mean, we are the New York Mets. I'm sure teams can't come back against us before, and they have, believe me. But it's nice not to stress about a game. Right? So the bats exploded for 9 runs. Tyrone Taylor, shout out Tyrone Taylor lover, 2 hits, a home run, and 4 RBIs. That was great to see for Tyrone Taylor. Like everyone loves him. He's so good on defense, but we all know that he can't hit for shit. And I really wish that he did, because if he did, oh my God, he would definitely be a starting outfielder by far. He would be starting over bench if he could hit. But he got his first hit of the year in this game, and it was a home run, which is very nice. Simeon also had 2 hits, and Clay Holmes with definitely the outing of the year so far. 7 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts, no runs, 2 walks. Beautiful. Beautiful. What a signing Clay Holmes has been. Like, what an absolute signing that Clay Holmes has been. I think we have him for another season after this. I would consider extending him. I mean, he's been top tier. He was top 10 in ERA for the National League last year. Came up clutch in the second to last game of the year. Didn't matter, but he came up clutch and kept the Mets alive. He's off to a great start right now. He has a 1.42 ERA. Obviously, that's going to go up. But last year was his first year as a starter. And there was kind of that question of, can he be a deeper into game starting pitcher? Can he go deep in the games? Or is he just going to be a 5-and-dive guy his whole career? And to his credit, he's been proving everybody wrong that says that he's just a 5-and-dive guy. I mean, he pitched 7 innings this game, and I think he went 5 2/3 in the first game. But just what an absolute outing from Clay Holmes. As much as the offense was the story in this game, I think Clay Holmes is the bigger story. He's 2-0 now in the year, 1.42 ERA. And just, I feel very confident whenever Clay Holmes takes a mound that, you know, there's probably going to be runs scored, but I think he's going to keep them at bay, right? Like 2, 3, 4 runs, you know? And that's doable. That should be a game, right? That should be a game that we are in. Our offense should not be dead. And that a 4-run lead seems insurmountable, right? But again, Lindor had no hits. Bichette had 2, so he have 5 hits in these 2 games? which is great to see. Polanco didn't have a hit. Beatty had 2. Vientos had 3. Again, continuing to rake. And an RBI. Bichette also had an RBI. Jared Young had 1 at bat, and he scored a run. And 1 at bat, a walk, a run for JY. Tyrone Taylor pitch hit for him, I think, in the 5th inning. Then hit that home run. I think he had another single later in the game. Collected 4 RBIs. Simeon again had 2 hits. Bench had none. Terrence had 1. So, again, a nice, easy, breezy, beautiful W from the New York Metropolitans. And now you're sitting at 3-3 for this road trip. And the way I always look at, I don't know how, if there's a word for this, but when you think of a baseball season and how you want your team to perform, you want to play 500 ball on the road, and you want to win series at home. You have to take advantage of your home field. You can lose games at home. I'm not saying you have to win every game. That's baseball. It's impossible. But you have to win the series and split 4-game series at least. So I think it was really important early on in the year to have a winning road trip. Because if you lose this game Sunday, you can look at the offense and see good things, right? Logan Webb is on the mound. Logan Webb is a all-star pitcher. He's very good. So it wouldn't be the end of the world, and it was good that the Mets would at least split the series. But to really take the sour taste out of your mouth from the Cardinals series and the first game of this series against the Giants, you had to win Sunday. So you can look at the road trip and be like, they went out, they played in enemy territory, and they came out with a winning road trip above 500. And that to me is perfect. That was a beautiful way to end the road trip. And that's what you want from the team. And especially now they're coming back home to play the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Oakland Athletics. I'm still calling the Oakland Athletics. I'm not saying Sacramento. I really don't give a fuck. They're playing the Oakland Athletics, who are both struggling. So the Mets have to take advantage of the series. But before I go into that, let's talk about this last game, because it was a absolute banger, right? So Vientos gets the Mets on the board with a single in the second inning, and he continues to just rake. Vientos has been outstanding. He's been amazing. He had his opportunity, and he just grabbed it, and now he won't give it back. He got a shot to play, and he's making the most of it, which I can expect. I love Vientos' attitude. He has such a way of carrying himself. He has full confidence in himself, and when he gets opportunities, he seems like the kind of guy to take advantage of it. And that's why I love him, Vientos. Polanco also had 2 hits in this game, which was huge. Even though I don't think he scored. I don't think the Mets got him in on one of them. Let me see. Top of the 8th, Polanco doubled on a sharp line drive. Robert singled. Oh, yes. Okay. Polanco had that leadoff double to start the 8th inning. Then Robert singled. I forget how Polanco got to third. Oh, no. Okay, so they pinch ran Tyrone Taylor for Jorge Polanco. Robert Jr. singled. Tyrone Taylor went first to third. Robert Jr. then stole second base. And so the Mets had second and third, 1 out, and Jared Young coming up the bat. Now, I give Mendoza a ton of credit here, because even though this seemed like a very easy decision to make, at least in my eyes, I'm like, okay, you got a lefty on the mound, and let's see, what was the guy's name? Miller. E. Miller. I don't know his first name. Let me see. Can I find it? No. So the guy Miller is a lefty. And Jared Young's up. But in this game, this is the Jared Young legacy game. Jared Young is 3 for 3 in this game. And on top of that, he threw out somebody trying to stretch a double off the wall. I think it was Encarnacion, something Encarnacion, not Edwin Encarnacion. I said that name before, and I was like, that dude's probably been retired for like 10 years. But their first baseman, or DH, Encarnacion, drove a ball off the wall, counted to Jared Young, threw a strike to Semien at second base, and got him out. So Jared Young is having the game of his life. And it would have been so easy for Mendoza to overthink or maybe say, hey, I want to stick with the hot hand. I want to stick with Jared Young here. But he goes to his righty-lefty matchup, and he has one bullet. I mean, Soto can't hit, and Beatty can't hit, and they're also both lefties. And Tyrone Taylor is on third base. So he has one option. It's Luis Torrens or nobody. It's Luis Torrens or Jared Young hits. And he pulled the plug, and he said, Torrens is going to hit. And Luis Torrens is the best backup catcher in baseball. I'm not very educated on backup catchers, so that could seem like a crazy statement. But at least for me, the backup catchers that I've seen has always just been defensive first guys. And Torrens is that, but he can still hit, and he comes up clutch. He had a clutch hit in the Pirates series, and on the top of the eighth in this game, when a 3-2 count, 1 out, he doubles down the line, scores Robert, and scores Taylor, and the Mets take a 3-2 lead. After that, he goes to second base. Vientos comes up again and singles. Torrens scores, making it 4-2. Then after that, Semien doubles off the wall. Vientos scores from first. Mets go up 5-2. Devin Williams comes in, puts a guy on base, but gets out of it easily. And the Mets win 5-2 on Easter, and they finish the road trip 4-3. That was absolutely best case scenario. That was absolutely great baseball from the New York Mets those last 3 games. Being able to win 3 out of 4 in a 4-game series earlier in the year without Soto, with your top guys struggling, especially Francisco Lindor. And in this game, Lindor and Bichette both had no hits. And with a pitching staff that has been questioned, Senga pitched great in this game also. We got to give out a huge shout-out to Kodai Senga. 5 2/3, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. He let up... This is the funny part, right? He let up the same amount of runs as he did in this game that he did in the first game in St. Louis. Or the second game, his first start in St. Louis. And the Mets won this game. See what happens when you get run support? Like, this is what I mean when I say that the Mets should be able to score more than 2 runs. And they did against Logan Webb, who's a very good pitcher. So, Senga had a great start, only let up 2 runs, and the Mets fought back. That's something that we completely lacked last year. I know there's that stat, after 8th inning trailing, whatever. But at the end of the day, that stat just shows, hey, the Mets never really came back. They didn't have a lot of fight in them, which we were always hoping for. Like, there was never that game last year that I can remember where the Mets came back and I was like, holy shit, what a fight. That was so sick. That was such a good victory. That was such a good win. I never got that last year. It was like they was edging me. Like, they were always edging us with these comebacks, and they never came through. No one got the big hit. No one got a clutch hit. But already 2 games into the year with Luis Roberts' walk-off home run and Luis Torrens' heroics, they have 2 comeback wins. And it's so good to see. It's a great feeling for us because now we're finally seeing some results and some fight and some energy. Hopefully that they start to rally around somebody or something similar to 2024, because I think that really brings everybody together. I'm not saying that they should have Grimace throw out the first pitch again or whatever, but I really hope the Mets carry this momentum into this homestand, which the Mets play down to their opponents, and that has been something that's killed them for years. Right? The Giants are not a very good team. They have a new manager. He came from college, which it's like at first I was like, how is he the only one? But now I kind of understand it. The lineup is okay, but outside of Devers and like Arise, nobody really hits. I mean, Chapman's okay. Adames is okay. Jung Ho Lee is whatever. But then the bottom of the lineup with Encarnacion, Bader, and the catcher can't fucking hit dick. I mean, Bader's and Bailey's having a rough time. Adames is hitting 184, and Devers is hitting 211. Lee is hitting 152. So it's not a crazy good lineup. But the Mets always play down to their opponents. And in this series, they took care of business. So now they just have to take care of business in this homestand against Arizona and against Oakland. So that was the recap of the road trip. Now we got some superlatives to give out. So I decided that, similar to the Rico Bronya, instead of doing star of the series or the Rico on the man now star of the series, I'm going to have the MSP Rockstar of the road trip and the hero of the homestand. As I said before, I'm going to try to do recaps of homestands and road trips just because it's easier for me to take a big sample and talk about a lot of things rather than do every game or every series, and I just don't have that time. So, first up, I have 3 candidates here for the Rockstar of the road trip. Those names are Jared Young, Clay Holmes, and Mark Vientos. I say Jared Young because everybody doubted him, right, from the get-go. Nobody wanted him in the lineup. And he came through. He performed. He had the double in St. Louis. He had one of their only hits the next game in St. Louis. And then he had a 3-for-3 day on Sunday and threw out Encarnacion at second base. Jared Young was a baller this entire fucking road trip. And he deserves his credit. So I got to give a round of applause to Jared Young. He comes in third. Number 2 is Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes had a great start in St. Louis. Got the win there. And then Saturday night went 7 scoreless innings. Only putting 2 guys on base for a nice, easy, breezy, beautiful win for the Mets. They scored 9 runs. It was nice and easy like that. So he's number 2. And number 1, Mark Vientos. I mean, my God. What a fucking tear Mark Vientos has been on. Mark Vientos is officially the first MSP rock star of the road trip. He finished this road trip hitting 409 with a 1.123 OPS, 4 RBIs, 9 hits, and 22 at-bats with 2 walks. Came up clutch. Single in the first inning to get a run, and a single in the 9th inning to get a run. So, great series from Mark Vientos all around. But I didn't really have to tell you that. I think everybody knew who would be the star of this road trip. But I'm also going to give you guys the top 3 bats, so the top 3 producers, and the bottom 3 producers of this road trip. Number 1 is obviously Mark Vientos. Like as I just said, 22 at-bats, 9 hits, 2 walks, 4 RBIs, 409 average, and a 1.123 OPS. Second was Francisco Alvarez, who we can't ignore. 6 hits and 17 at-bats, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, 2 walks, hit .353, and had 1.012 OPS. And number 3 is the boy, JY, Jared Young. In his 12 at-bats, he had 5 hits, 1 walk, 1 RBI, hit .417, and had a .917 OPS. And a great defensive play in the outfield. Bottom 3 is, I'm sure you guys can guess, Brett Beatty. 17 at-bats, 4 hits, 0 walks, 1 RBI, hit .235 with a .471 OPS. Carson Bench, in his 20 at-bats, had 3 hits, 3 walks, which is okay. His on-base is okay. And 1 RBI. So at least he got on base 6 times, which is nice to see. But he hit 150 and it had an OPS of 411. And the worst, by far, Francisco Lindor. 28 at-bats, 3 hits, 5 walks, 1 RBI. Hit 107 and a 405 OPS. I'm not worried about Lindor. He's going to turn around. We just got to be patient. It's going to come. And the last thing that I want to introduce is the hot seat. At the start of every month, I'm going to put a guy on the hot seat. And at the end of the month, I'm going to see how he does. And if he produces, he can get off the hot seat. And if he doesn't produce, then we'll talk about a replacement. Because I think that's better than, obviously I'm still going to do this, but talking every day about what they should do with a certain player, this, that. The first guy that's going to be on the hot seat is Carson Bench. Obviously, he's a rookie, and there's a very easy solution to this, is they can send him down whenever either Tommy Pham or if they want MJ Melendez to come up to get Bench more reps in AAA. He simply does not look ready. He cannot hit the fastball right now. His swing is way too slow. He's not catching up to speed on them. His swing looks very long. I think he's just late on a lot of things. Like, he's been making okay contact. He's got to lay off big league pitches. And I think that if Soto comes back good and he can play in the outfield, and if Tommy Pham is ready, I think they're going to send Bench down and get him some more reps and then call him up later in the year. Because I do think Carson Bench is going to be a contributor to this team. So that's who's on the hot seat for April. We'll see what happens. Hopefully Bench can come back home and put some good at-bats against bad teams and put himself in a better position. So that's all for this episode. Again, congratulations to Mark Vientos for being the Rockstar of the road trip. And we'll see where the Mets go from here. They play 3 games against Arizona, and then they play 3 games against the A's at Citi Field. Let me pull up the schedule right now. Maybe I can get the starting pitchers. Mets probable pitchers. Stick with me here. On Tuesday at 4 o'clock, they'll have Freddie Peralta going against Zach Gallen. Zach Gallen has tended to kill the Mets, so that's going to suck. Wednesday, they play at 7 o'clock. David Peterson's on the mound. Don't know who's there for the Diamondbacks yet. Thursday, we're going to see McLean go against Eduardo Rodriguez. So those are 3 games that the Mets should win. And then they play Oakland on Friday at 7 o'clock. They play him at 4 o'clock on the 11th, on Saturday. No pitchers yet. And then Sunday, I believe, probably at 1 o'clock. But if it's McLean, Peralta, Peterson, McLean, it will be Clay Holmes probably going Friday for the Mets. And then Kodai Senga going Saturday for the Mets against Oakland. The Athletics. The Sacramento A's, if you want me to be so precise. Anyways, that is all for this episode of the Met Shit Pod. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys liked. I hope you guys like the awards and the stuff that I'm going to try to keep up with. I'm going to do my best. I got a lot of stuff going on, but for right now, hope you guys enjoy your Monday. I know a lot of schools have off this week, so please go outside, do something. Don't just sit in the house and goon and play games all day. Read a book if you're going to sit inside. Do something productive. But, all right, that's it. Peace. Let's go Mets.